Alrighty, y'all, our train fans. I am with Traingineer Russ, and we are going to be, or not me, Russell's going to be discussing what's your choice, DCS or Lionel Legacy. Take it away, Russell.
Okay, so one of the biggest questions on a lot of the Facebook groups recently was, which do I go with, the MTH DCS system or Lionel Legacy? There's no real right or wrong answer. Both have great capabilities and trains run fantastic on them. But if you're thinking about choosing both, then one thing that you might want to consider is the wiring. DCS actually prefers a certain type of wiring where you separate all your loops of track. By that, I'm meaning you isolate one main line from your other lines. And in that, you would be running one ground, one positive for your outer main loop, one ground, one positive for your inside loop. The reason behind this is because the DCS runs on a digital signal that sends the signal out through the positive back through the ground, and it's all time related. If it's not picking up the engine, it's probably sending the signal out through the track someplace, and you want a direct line straight back. Now everybody's like, well, everything is common ground. Yes, common ground you would actually incorporate right here at your power source, your power system here. So everything that we have coming up has grounds going up here, and everything's looped together. So these are all the loops of grounding wires. And so I could pull off a ground anywhere I want. All this goes into the TIU. The TIU is powered by Lionel 180 watts and the powerhouse and the Power Masters. This allows us to vary the voltage from the legacy system. By doing this, now on this layout, we can run conventional, we can run Lionel Legacy, or we can run the MTH.
So let me ask a question there real quick. Then do you have to use, when you're running the different things, you have to get the different controllers?
Yes.
Do you switch them around? Do you juggle them like a...
So, here's the difference in the remotes. Here's the Lionel Legacy, which they have actually discontinued this remote. Now, came out with a cab 3 base, and we're not exactly sure when that will be available, but it takes the place of this and puts everything into your cell phone. Everybody that does like having a remote control can still use either one of these remotes. Here's the Cab 1L for Legacy, and this is the Cab 2. They discontinued this one, they're still making this one. So you can still operate all your Legacy features through either remote if you end up going with getting the Cab 3 base.
So, for example, if I wanted to run the Lionel, is that a big boy right there?
That is a big boy.
If I wanted to run the Lionel big boy that's behind the MTH Santa Fe, I would have to get out the Cab 1 or the Cab 2, right?
That is correct.
Oh my God, if you can teach TrainDame anything, if something, oh boy. Okay.
And then your MTH will work on this. Now, everybody's gonna say, well, you can run TMCC with the DCS remote. That is correct. But in order to do that, you have to have the MTH to the base compatible cable. A regular, I believe it's the RJ32, you go to a computer store, you buy one, it's not gonna work. You gotta have the specific cable that goes from the TIU to your TMCC or legacy base.
Okay, you've gone over my head. So is TMC Lionel or is it?
TMCC is Lionel, it's Trainmaster Control.
Is that old school or?
That's the predecessor to the legacy system.
Okay.
It's got slower speed steps, which it doesn't allow the crawl as good as what the legacy engines do, anything like that.
So bottom line, on a TW TrainWorx custom layout, you can run your MTH trains, your Lionel Legacy.
Not on all of them.
But I mean on this one, excuse me, we're just talking this one.
On this one here, the customer requested that
let me show
be...
You can keep talking, I'm going to show them the layout.
Compatible for legacy and DCS.
Okay.
So, most of ours are all Lionel Legacy, not many people request the DCS. The DCS requires a little extra wiring because we separate everything. So, when we wire everything up, shut this door here. Here's our transition from going from the outside main to an inside main. And it is right here, or no, it's this one here. This goes to the inside, this is the outside main. But right here, you can, I think it's right in here. Where did I put them? Ah, this one right here. This track joint here, we have 3 isolating pins that completely separates the 2 circuits. So this one here, being the inside main, is going to have the red positive wire and the gray grounding wire up underneath. Cool. Just like I showed you at the power card.
Yep.
The outside is green with the black wire.
Okay.
Green positive, black ground wire.
I actually understand what you're saying.
So everything's completely separate until it gets to the power cart. That's when we incorporate the common grounding for the Lionel Legacy. Lionel Legacy is just one wire. The Legacy works off of a radio signal that comes through the rails and then comes up. And you have antennas on your engines, your cars that are compatible. The other thing that we have found with the systems is making sure that both outside rails are grounded. For the legacy system, what that's going to do is that's going to send your signal up and out on both sides.
So how do you ground it?
Grounding is
underneath?
Up underneath.
Oh no, are we actually going to go underneath here? But that's where you ground it.
So if we look up underneath here, I've got 3 different wires coming out here.
Okay.
I've got the green, which is the center.
Yep.
I've got the black, which is the outside rail.
Yep.
I got this white with a green stripe. That is a ground wire.
Ah.
The reason why I used a different color wire is I know that that is the inside track rail. So, one, it's completely grounded, but if we have to come in and put in a signal, say we decide that we're going to have a crossover and put a crossing signal in here. Well, now I've already got up underneath the table right here a trigger point.
Yep.
So all I would have to do is come in with a Dremel, cut here, tie that ground into the accessory, and now it's going to switch over and it's going to be my activation track.
Wow.
So I don't have to pull this track up, solder another wire on. I just find the closest one. I make my cuts for as long as I want that activation to go.
So how many ground wires do you have in this layout?
How many drops off the track?
Drops off the track, okay, yeah.
Let's see here. Every table section is going to have one drop on it. So per...
Can you show us a table section, what you're referring to?
A table section is going to go from right here. So all of our tables come apart. I think that, yes, this one right here.
Yep.
So right here, and goes all the way across. So this section from this cut here on the table all the way around to the other cut,
yep.
This has at least one drop on it.
Cool.
This one up here has one drop on it. This over here has one drop on it. And then you come down the way, we have that other drop that I just showed everybody,
yep.
which is right here.
Yep.
This one here is not too far away.
Wow.
I think the furthest that we go, that we try to stick within is 4 to 6 feet. Every 4 to 6 feet, there's going to be a power drop. Sometimes when you have multiple switches, crossovers, I'll add maybe 1 or 2 extras in there just to ensure.
Wow.
The thing that you got to remember about electricity, it's kind of like water. It's going to flow to the least path of resistance. So the more drops you have, essentially, closer together, it's going to find that ground. Positive always wants to find ground.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Russell, this is almost 12 minutes, so this is our first really YouTube instructional video, and the title of it was, what's your choice, DCS or Lionel or Legacy?
Next, I hear a lot of questions about what is bus wiring.
Okay.
So maybe that could be our next video.
Awesome. Thank you.
Show our bus wiring. But
thank
overall,
you.
I'd say either choice, Legacy, DCS is the way to go. But if you're really leaning towards doing both, and you want to go Legacy first, make sure that you wire it for the DCS system.
So you can wire something and then use it later? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Everything is separated until it gets to your power system.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Yes.